Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Mega Man 4 Buster Only No Death Run, and no suspicious video game generosity today. No, it's just one big long drop and then one final hallway to the end of the final boss. And of course we have some of these caterpillars here, which do drop some items, which is very useful, which I will explain during the boss fight, but this is pretty much the whole level, and it's reminiscent, really, of the last level of Mega Man 2. And I think the similarities are striking, which I will explain. But, just like Mega Man 2's final boss, this also is a boss that cannot be harmed by anything but a singular weapon energy weakness. So if you run out of energy, well, you're kind of screwed in this battle. This is also the first game that introduces the Wily pod. Wow, and those shots hurt a lot. Holy crap, that hurts. So yeah, ever since Mega Man 4, we stopped getting interesting final boss battles with Wily. It's now, we always end on the Wily pod battle. Now, granted, they change it up every now and then, and they introduce new attacks and new ways of it fighting you and stuff, but it always ends the same. There's always going to be a Wily pod, more or less, in Mega Man Classic series. And that's kind of a shame, because I kind of like those big, grandiose final boss battles with things that take up half the screen, you know? It's kind of cool, and this seems kind of anticlimactic, because this is literally all he does. Now, as I was saying before, when you lose all your weapon energy, you have nothing left to do but, of course, die, because none of your other attacks, or even your buster, will harm this thing. So, back in Mega Man 2, which I'm sure this takes inspiration from, if you were to die there, you ran out of bubble lead with the alien, well, guess what? You started right outside the door with no possible way of refilling your energy. So you just lost all your progress, and you have to basically die and game over and start over on the final level just to get your weapon energy back to kill the alien. Well, here, the level design is actually a lot better, and the developers have learned from their past mistakes. It'll start you out before the boss door, but you'll have the option of killing those caterpillars and restore the energy to the Pharaoh shot. So, hey, they learn. And ow, he is not giving me any opportunities here, is he? Yeah, where the shot starts happening and where he actually appears is actually quite random. So the shot does not really appear where he's going to. So it's not actually originating from him. And that really hurts. And I'm not going to take my chance. I'm going to use an E-Tank here. I probably could beat this thing with no E-Tank. But, you know, time is tight. It still doesn't break my challenge, and I'm going to do it. Because I got other things I need to get done here. Other play series, other things. I'd like to be done with this particular series. Just one more. Just give me a good shot. Yes! And another striking resemblance to Mega Man 2. It was all a hologram. It was all a simulation. A very, very dangerous simulation, but hey. And this is ridiculous. This is the most aptly placed revolving door ever. Which apparently activates the self-destruct at the same time. And I believe this is the first game, Mega Man 4, that we get to see a Skull Castle explode. Yep, and there he goes. He lives on to fight another day. With classic skull bloom mushroom cloud. That's, yeah. And there you go. Mega Man 4 is complete. I remember playing through this for the first time and finally beating it after months and months of trying so hard to get through this game and seeing this. And I don't know about any of you about the restrictions and limitations of the Nintendo Entertainment System, but having a moving background like this with moving foreground elements, like those bar pillars that just keep passing by every now and then, like, this was epic. This was beyond the scope of what you normally see in Nintendo games, and this was just a mesmerizing piece of ending credits. I mean, nowadays you kind of look at it and be like, really? Yeah, but back then this was great. This was the stuff. Limited text space, I have no idea who Takap and Miss 21 is, and I'm pretty sure that's not their real names, but due to limited space on the font, I guess that's the best they were able to do. Yeah, Enough King. We all know who that is, but that's just how they shortened it for the limited space they had. So, with that, Mega Man 4 is complete. It was not as hard as I'm remembering since my youth, so yeah, in fact, it seemed easier than Mega Man 3. I mean, once you figured out how the boss patterns and AI works and how level hazards function, on repeated practice, most of the game really shouldn't be an issue for seasoned Mega Man players. Hey, there's Roll, and her limited screen appearance in this series. Yay, Staff! Yes, you were literally one of the worst bosses. You're so spastic and nobody can figure you out. Followed up by one of the easiest ones! Oh, I hated you. Yeah, I figured you out, but you're still hard as heck. You were surprisingly easy. You seemed a lot harder in my memory than in reality. You can be tricky. You just gotta keep on top of your reflexes, and he's not so bad. This dude loves to waste your time. Seriously. Again, another one that seemed a lot harder in memory. He's super easy now that I figured him out. Skullman's tricky. If you're not careful, he can throw you for a little loop. So, how did this game do on my challenge parameters? For one, I had to make it through on 1 life per stage with Buster only, and only picking up items given to me freely by the game without repeating level visits for tank spamming, and ignoring tanks that required a special weapon to access. Even with these restrictions, the game was far easier than I was expecting. Starting off from the base score of 1, the only real trouble spots for levels was most likely Ringman stage and the first fortress stage of Cossack Citadel. Between the two of them, they generated the bulk of my level troubles, so only add about a half point of difficulty for the levels. Hey, thanks, Eddie. The bosses is where the major problems occurred, and I could easily pick out Brightman, Drillman, Skullman, and Ringman, in that order as being the troublemakers of the bunch. Even with some practice, you still had to be on your toes with them, so a full point and a half for just them alone. Finally, the Citadel bosses. Of those, Mothra, Square Machine, and Mega Matul, or whatever it's called, stand out as tricky boss fights. The second form of the Wily Machine after the boss rematches was also a bit troublesome, but nothing too terrible. That would add our final point of difficulty, giving Mega Man 4 a grand total of 4 points. 4 E-Tanks. Kinda funny that. Didn't really intend it that way, but just as well. With another play series done, I honestly have nothing else planned or pre-recorded at this time. Maybe I'll tackle Mega Man 5 or 6 soon, or just skip over to the X or Zero series. No idea. Or just do some other non-platform games entirely. We'll see how real life and my schedule treats me. Until next time, see y'all later, and stay retro. Man, I swear, Eddie's looking into my soul.